So how would you like to make over $100,000 in pure, clean profit every single year finding and selling simple products on Amazon FBA? Well, over the last couple of years, I found out a way to do exactly that and then some more, see this screenshot, in my own business. And in this special video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do the same thing too. The key is product research or selecting a product to sell. And that is by far the critical piece of the entire Amazon FBA puzzle. It's also the most misunderstood, particularly for those of us who are new to selling on Amazon. But today I'm going to pull back the curtain and reveal everything. So if you're ready to go from beginner to expert in Amazon FBA product research, let's begin. All right, welcome to the video. And today I'm going to walk you through everything that you need to know about Amazon FBA product research. I'm going to explain to you the exact criteria and the exact metrics that you need to look for. I'm going to show you the exact research process to follow. And I'm even going to take you by the hand into my computer and I'm going to show you on Amazon how I use those criteria and that process to find winning products to sell on Amazon. And I'm going to make the bold claim that by the end of watching this video, you're going to go from beginner to knowing more than what 99% of people know about Amazon FBA product research. You're going to know the tricks and the tools to use, the exact process to follow, and the worst mistakes to avoid. But if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Myles. I'm a 7-figure Amazon FBA private label seller. But it wasn't always like this. A few years ago, I was exactly where you are right now. And then I got started with Amazon FBA and I got to the point where over the last couple of years now, I've actually generated over $3.5 million across my accounts, which you can see here. And it's because of that income that I've had the freedom and the cash money to travel around the world, to live an adventurous life, and to basically be the person that I want to be. Now that's my story and I'm here now and this channel is here to help you do the same thing. Now, if you like the sound of that, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to click the notification bell as well so that you're the first to get these videos as they come out. And I'm just gonna say this here now, but if later on you decide you want access to all of my knowledge, you want access to my personal mentorship, as well as an elite community to guide you along this journey, then I definitely recommend you check out my Amazon FBA training program. It's called the FBA Freedom Accelerator. That's gonna be in the first link in the video description down below. It's an exclusive program. You can check it all out there. So I hope you find this video incredibly useful. It's gonna be 1 hour of pure nonstop value. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy bringing it to you. Make sure to stay tuned right until the end because throughout the video, I will be dropping some advanced little hacks that will literally save you thousands of dollars with your first Amazon FBA product. Otherwise, you might want to get a pen and paper or something to take notes. Make sure to activate your learning mode. Feel free to pause the video, bookmark it, rewind it, come back to bits as you need to. There is a lot to take in. And when you're ready, let's begin. All right, guys, let's get into it. And first of all, I've created this downloadable guide. It's gonna be for free. You'll find the link in the description. So if you want to not only follow along with this, with the notes as I'm going through this video, but you can also take this, you can print it out. You can use it later on when you're doing product research. So hopefully this is a lot of fun. Hopefully you get a lot out of this. Grab this guide if you want, and let's just get into it. So I always believe in starting from the very fundamentals, starting with a solid foundation before we sort of just jump into Amazon and start looking for stuff. So let's work out a few things and define a couple of things, really define the scope of what we're actually doing here. So what are we doing? All we're gonna do, we're gonna find potential product ideas and we're gonna evaluate how good they are. So we wanna be able to answer questions like, is this product idea going to boom for me or is it going to bust? Is this product going to make me a great side income or is it just going to be trouble? Is it going to make me tear my hair out into the future? Those are the sorts of questions that I'm going to show you how to answer in this video. Now, another note in terms of what we're not doing, I'm not looking at dropshipping, I'm not looking at wholesaling, and I'm not looking at retail arbitrage. Now, whether or not those terms are familiar to you, doesn't really matter too much in this video, but this is going to be a private label product research tutorial. So that begs the next question then, two questions. Firstly, what is private label? Secondly, why private label only, right? So just as a quick definition, private label means that we are creating and branding our own actual products. So they may be very similar to existing products on the market, but our end goal, the end goal that we need to get to after all of this product research, when we're finally selling on Amazon, is we have our own brand, our own logo, our own company, our own unique designs. They're our own products and we're really going out and manufacturing them ourselves. So why private label? That's what private label is and why private labeling instead of any of those other things. The reason is that in comparison to things like dropshipping or wholesaling, private labeling is the best real way to create lasting barriers. With those other methods, you have much smaller barriers and there's much less stopping other people from actually copying you and from doing the same thing. It's also more likely, or at least in my personal opinion, to create something that will actually generate you steady income into the future Now, arbitrage, for example, is a very labor-intensive way of making money on Amazon. So is dropshipping as well. So I really recommend that you are building something, a brand around yourself, so that you can have that steady income into the future. And the last thing, which relates to those first two things, is that by doing private label, you're much more likely to create a business that you can actually sell for a big payday. As an example, if you have a business that is generating $100,000 in net profit per year, as an Amazon FBA private label business, you can probably expect to sell that business for a 2 to 3 times multiple. So that means if it's $100,000 per year, that business is worth $200,000 to $300,000. Now, I'm going to leave that with you to let that sink in, but this is why, in my opinion, private label is the way to go on Amazon. So next up, what do we need to start? A couple of things. Firstly, money, capital. Let's get that out of the way first. You need a bare minimum of $3,000 US dollars to start. People ask, how much do I actually need for a product? It's really going to depend a lot on the product. I will make a video about this in the future. But for now, if you don't have within that range of $3,000 to $10,000 available and available to invest and not be able to withdraw, then you need a plan to acquire that money. If you don't have a plan to acquire that money, then don't look at Amazon FBA private label, not at this stage. What I recommend is you find a way to get that money if you don't have it right now, because it'll pay off. But definitely you need some sort of plan to be able to get there, to get that stage and have that amount of capital. What you don't need right now, you don't need a company, you don't need to go set up bank accounts, all that sort of stuff. You can do that, but please do not let that stop you from doing this product research phase. This is the hardest part. It's going to take the most time. You need to get this started now. So apart from money, what do you need right now? Not much really. You need a product research tool, and I recommend Helium 10. So you can get that here. There'll be links in the description. There'll also be links in that guide. Or you can use this code or either of these codes, Nomad 50 or Nomad 10, according to the discount that you want to get. If you're thinking about using it for a while, then I would probably go 10% off every month. If you just want to try it out, you could just go 50% off the first month. Either way, get that, claim the discount, go and just get that now, because you're going to need that to do any product research. Some other common questions around product research tools. If Helium 10 is too expensive. So I personally use Helium 10 for most things in my business now. The thing is, it changes rapidly, right? So the big three, you got Helium 10, Viral Launch, Jungle Scout. They all work pretty well in terms of accuracy, in terms of functionality and the different features they have. Viral Launch and Jungle Scout are both cheaper. So if you're trying to save money, then you can go and use those discount codes, which will also be down below as well. But I want you to understand that the tools are always going to be changing, and they change rapidly. So don't spend much time in this part of the process. Pick one. I recommend Helium 10. Go and get it now so that you can follow along and do the rest of this video along with me. Once you have Helium 10, you will primarily for product research be wanting to use the black box. That's the product research section there. Trendster, I don't find super useful, but I will probably show you that as well in this video. You'll also be switching backwards and forwards between black box and magnet squared, which is the keyword research. I've started using keyword research more and more in my product research process. I'll get all into this in the walkthroughs in a sec. But just know that you'll be using black box, sometimes Trendster, definitely magnet, and also Cerebro as well. But before we start diving into this, I want to go back and I want to bust some myths for you really quickly, some product research myths, because this probably isn't the first product research video that you've watched on YouTube, or it's probably not the first thing that you've seen about product research. And there is unfortunately a lot of misinformation out there. So I want to just break a couple of these myths now. And it's really critical that you understand these. You will understand later on, if you've gone through this process and you found a product that wasn't successful, you will understand why these myths need to be busted. So understand these before you start. First, myth number one, the myth is that you're going to strike it rich quickly with your very first product that you start selling on Amazon. Now, here are the realities. Here are the true realities. First reality, if you come into this expecting to get rich quickly, what will happen is you're probably going to get burnt quickly. Now, the second reality is that success is actually measured after years, not weeks, not days, usually not even months. It takes 6 to 12 months to really start to see success. So the real magic of doing Amazon FBA, what it actually looks like is not just this first product success, $30,000, $50,000 a month. What it really looks like realistically for people who've actually made it to a high level and really used it to change their lives, it's actually a low, slow, steady ascent from nothing up to this life-changing online income. And here's the other thing. You're not going to strike it rich with your first product, or you're probably not going to. What is more close to reality is that your first product is actually going to be the first step along that journey. And I would love to be able to tell you that 100% of people's first products are just going to succeed and just, knock it out of the park. Realistically, that doesn't always happen. And so what you need to be thinking about is being prepared to be in this for the long haul. What I want to weed out at this point are people who are looking at this as a get-rich-quick type of scheme or type of money-making business. And another thing which I'm not going to really cover in more detail in this video is cash flow. You can't expect to get any profit out of this business, at least for the first couple of months. I would say minimum 6 months. And realistically, in my personal case, to grow up to the 7-figure level and to really get these numbers that, they are impressive and I like throwing them around, I didn't withdraw any income from that business for around about 18 months. Now, the reason why it's so important to set this expectation for you as you're about to start this product research phase is that the types of products and the types of niches that you begin to look at, if you think that you're just going to get lots of money coming back, you're going to be looking at the niches and the products that you think will get you there. And most of those niches and products will throw up identifiable red flags and warnings so that ideally you actually don't get into them. And I will show you the metrics and the numbers that I will use to evaluate whether something is a red flag or a green light potentially later on. So please understand the importance of this first myth. You are not going to strike it rich, and you shouldn't aim or look for products that will enable you to supposedly strike it rich quickly. Myth number 2, you are going to find the perfect product to sell. I wish this were true. I really do. Unfortunately, here is the reality. Everything that you find on Amazon and look to start selling is going to have risks, it's going to have downsides, and it's going to have some sort of barrier to entry. And what these risks, downsides, and barriers to entry will do is balance out that opportunity of that perfect looking product. The second reality, in contrast to this myth, is that the art and the actual skill and ability of product research is in identifying what those risks are, mitigating those downsides, and then being able to find ways to jump over those barriers to entry. Or in short, if you're looking for that first perfect product, you will never find it. And you're actually looking for those products that have risks, that have downsides, that have barriers to entry, because in the product research phase, you just need to understand what they are. Every product has some sort of downside. And so you're actually you want to weed out the ones that have risks that you can't control, and then you want to find products and niches where you can actually look at creating your own barriers. Or you want to find niches that for whatever reason have slid under the radar. Or you want to find obstacles that you can jump over that other people either don't want to or can't jump over. So please get this myth out of your head it's about finding the perfect product. It's actually going to be about your unique creativity, your unique insights and analytical skills as applied to a specific niche. And again, looking at those risks, downsides, and barriers to entry, and then working out where can you fit into it, where can you add an improvement. And I guess the result of this second myth, which gets so many people, is that you're never going to feel, or you're probably at least never going to feel more than, I'd say, 70 to 80% confident in a potential product idea, particularly if you are a beginner right now, particularly if you've never gone through this process yourself. If you're expecting to get to 100% level of confidence in the product that you want to sell, you will never sell that product because you will never feel ready. So I hope I didn't burst too many bubbles with this, but if you want to make money, first step is to get in touch with reality. So there are 2 really common myths busted. Now let's move on to the actual process. What are we actually doing from a higher level now? And then we'll dive into Helium 10. We'll start going on Amazon. But what actually are we doing in this product research process? So this is the process that I use. It's called the product generation funnel. I'm going to summarize it here. I go into a lot more detail in my full training, but for what you need to know right now, it's 3 phases. And actually, I'm only going to cover the first 2 because the third one takes a while. First one, find initial product ideas. And that is using Helium 10, that is diving into Amazon from various different points. And then number 2, evaluate those ideas. And that's really it. Number 3 is contacting suppliers through Alibaba and then actually working with those suppliers to really determine which improvements you can implement, which you can execute on, finalizing all of that, getting all of the costs finalized. That really is a bit of an iterative process. So I can't just show you that in one video. But the first 2 steps will get you 90% of the way there. So let's walk through step 1. That is how to find initial product ideas using Helium 10 Black Box. Now, as a caveat, there are many different ways of lesser known methods of actually discovering these new profitable product niches. This is a really common question is, well, if I'm using the same software as everyone else and I'm using the same filters as everybody else, how do I get different results to everybody else? And that is a valid question, and it's a valid concern to have. What I want you to think about or realize is that this first step, which is finding those initial product ideas, and that's what Helium 10 Black Box does. That's what Jungle Scout will do, the web app. That's also what Viral Launch will do, is just get you into Amazon and looking at these product ideas. This first step, there isn't much value creation in it. There isn't much to it, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So don't worry if everybody else is doing this same method. Again, there are many more other methods, but this will still get you to that second step, which is where you will really actually use your creativity, start looking and digging down into these niches and doing the real work of product research, to be honest. That's where the value will be created, and that's what I want to spend more time on. So step one, black box or Viral Launch or Jungle Scout, whatever option you chose, is a perfectly valid way of starting off. So we're here in black box. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can attack this to start off with. First, I wanted to show you the product way of doing this. Now, what this is going to do is basically, rather than going to Amazon.com and browsing through keywords or product categories, what black box allows you to do is actually just filter things down so that you can really see the bulk of what you want to be looking for, and filter out a lot of the stuff that you just know is not going to make sense for you to sell. So first we start with the categories, and I've got lists of initial filters you can use. Now, as another caveat, and there's always going to be caveats and there's always going to be exceptions to the rules, these starting filters, should you only 100% limit yourself to these? No, you can always step outside them and go and have a look. But this is where the majority of generally private label friendly products will be found. And some of the filters I will explain in more detail later on in step 2, again, the more important step. But this is just a really good way to get started and start seeing whether you are seeing good ideas. If you're not, feel free to expand the filters later on, or feel free to even narrow down more later on so you can dig deeper into these particular niches. So you can start by looking at all of these categories at once, but I actually prefer to sort of dig deeper at the start into a particular niche so that I can see the types of products that are appearing. I'm not much of a consumer myself. I don't really shop on Amazon. I don't buy that much stuff. So it's helpful for me to see, one particular product in relation to all of the other related products in the categories, if that makes sense. So what I wanted to start with right now was just beauty and personal care, just that one. And that's the only category I'm going to look at as this first example. Do make sure that whatever category you're looking at, you are aware of Amazon's firstly restricted products list, and secondly, specific categories that have PPC restrictions. So you want to just avoid these completely. So you can click this link, you can check it out. Restricted products, and there are a whole bunch. Again, not too common, but some things you might not expect, like lockpicking sets is one, laser products, things like that. Don't touch this list. And the other one is these Amazon PPC restrictions. The main one that normally affects people is the adult category. But I also had a student recently have an issue with religious items, because they actually, if they promote a specific religion, they can't be promoted on Amazon PPC, or at least not fully. So those are some things to avoid. Click these links. When you download this guide, go and click these links and just have a good read for yourself, and make sure that when you're looking, there's nothing on those lists. Anyway, other quick filters, I'm going to set one maximum seller. And the reason that I do that is because, like I said before, we could be looking at arbitrage, we could be looking at drop shipping or wholesaling models. But in this case, I just want to see what sort of products are being private labeled already. And so the advanced filter down here will have it, I believe. Where is it? Number of sellers. So I really just want to see products. I might put 2 actually, because sometimes there'll be one seller selling a listing, and then there'll be Amazon as well on that listing, as they might be selling seconds or used, like returned items. So leave that as 2, but I don't want something like wrong category, but let's say Nike shorts or something, where there's going to be 15 or a dozen, heaps of different sellers selling the same product. I really just want to look at ones which will be private label products. So that's that. And I'm going to leave almost everything else. The only thing that I'm going to set is at this stage, price. I'm going to set it at minimum $15. Basically, if you're looking at lower priced products, the way that Amazon's fees works, and this is another topic for another video, with the fixed dollar fee that Amazon charges for its fulfillment fees, as you start getting into these lower price brackets, I'd say definitely below $10, but also generally within the $10 to $15 range as well, is quite low. And your profit margins, the dollars per unit that you can possibly make on these products, is just lower. So I personally like to avoid that. I don't really like selling those products. So I'm just going to put that in here right now as $15 as a minimum. And then revenue, I'm going to put $4,000. And as a maximum, I'm going to set $15,000. Now, you might have some questions about those numbers. $4,000 seems very low, and $15,000 probably seems very low to you as well. But let's go back to those first couple of myths. we're not looking to get rich quick. We're looking for a reasonable, steady income. And the reason why we're looking for that is because there's less competition. There's going to be less people jumping in. There is simply less numbers of people behind you trying to get into the same thing. I have experience with products that sell above $15,000 or above $20,000 per month. And I mean, personally, I just don't really like it. I have to deal a lot more with hijackers when I'm selling in that high revenue range. I have to deal more with competitors that are more professional sellers. They are more well equipped. They have more money to burn on PPC, so PPC costs are higher. There's definitely a bigger pie, but again, this is for you right now. And if you're a beginner, you probably aren't that equipped to deal with that. And I've just seen so many stories of people who, firsthand stories of people who start their first product in this really competitive niche, and then they reordered and they actually eventually found out that there was just too many people trying to get that size of the pie, that even the ones that were making money, they were just cutting costs and, making no net profit. So I'm personally happy to set that as a maximum. You can set it a bit higher if you want to, but do take my experiences in mind. Now, why 4,000 as a minimum? The minimum threshold is really just like, how much is it going to be worth your effort? Now, if you do the maths, let's say 5,000 a month minimum revenue per month, 12 months, 60,000, let's say 30% profit margin. That's between $15,000 to $20,000 in net profit annually. Now, for me, that's kind of the minimum threshold. I know I can launch products pretty quickly, and so that kind of pays off at a minimum. Now, your particular situation may vary a lot. Now, think about whether $15,000 to $20,000 in net income per year sounds like a lot to you or not. If that doesn't sound like a lot to you, because let's say, for example, you live in a really expensive country and you already have a really high-paying job, then set that threshold higher. Or if you're an experienced professional seller and you need to make a better return on your investment or a return on your time, then set that threshold higher. If you're a first time to Amazon, or this is your first online business, if you don't have much experience to back you up, or you're not very confident, then set that revenue threshold lower and accept that realistically, that's probably how much you'll make. With your first product, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 20, maybe it's $30,000 in profit per year. You can go higher, but just accept that, again, you're gonna be dealing with more competition. So that's what I'm gonna set. I'm gonna set it below 5,000 as well, because I just wanna be able to see what's in that sort of cutoff threshold again, so I can manually do the calculations and manually see if something jumps out. I'm gonna set that. Review count, I'm gonna set a maximum of 150. Review count really changes based on how much you improve the product. So I just want to cut off really sort of well done niches. You can change that a lot. So that's all I'm going to select. I'm going to go search, let Helium 10 do its thing, and you'll have what looks like a bunch of random information and a bunch of random products. And that's pretty much what it is. Remember, this is just the diving off point into step 2 of the walkthrough, which is the real analysis. So I'm going to sort this by revenue, high to low, so I can just look at the more popular, more interesting products first. And then I'm just going to go through this list and start pinning and picking things that I want to take a further look at. Now, I have looked at this one before and I do like this one, so I'm going to use this as a further example, but it looks good. I'm personally, because I already have some brands selling on Amazon, I'm looking for things that I know I can source on Alibaba. I'm looking for things that are pretty simple. I'm specifically me as an individual as well. I like things that have design-based elements. So they're not that functional, or they may be functional, but they have a very sort of visual, vivid design. And that's why I like that, this particular product, this shower cap. I'm personally, again, me individually, I don't really like the idea of selling topicals. I really don't like the idea necessarily of selling things that I would need to source in the US, or things like more health related things like food, which by the way, you definitely can sell. It's just that, I don't want to have to go through those hoops myself personally. Now I'm going to throw that back for a second to this second myth. And just keep in mind that this is already, you're seeing this individual kind of preference coming out, because I don't know anything about that personally. I also don't live in the US. So if I think about topicals, think about products that are maybe organic or applied to the skin, or eaten, consumed. Personally, if I was going to attack that niche, I would want to have local suppliers in the US, because I think that's a really nice marketing aspect. And because I don't have that advantage, me personally being outside the US, it's not something that I feel like I should immediately jump into. I feel like there's easier avenues for me. Now, my point here is that you are looking for barriers and things that you're willing to jump over that the next person isn't. So I'm not willing to go and source US-based organic products, even though I think it would be nice. But maybe you are, because you already live in the US. You have an advantage over me in that area. This is just one particular example. Again, I don't sell in the beauty category. So I'm sure that people have more experience with this and they can jump in here with, all of these conditioners, moisturizing creams, things like that. So I'd be more likely to sell a hairbrush because that definitely comes from China, versus all of these creams. So anyway, this one looked good to me. This one looked good to me. No, it doesn't actually. I'm going to have a look at this one, but I don't think you should exclude things that are oversized. Now, if you look at this, it's big, it's bulky, it's heavy. The FBA fees are expensive. What you need to watch out for with large items, oversized items, is going to be particularly around Q4, but it's just going to be storage fees in general. I will pursue this and we can have a look at the fees together. But I've heard enough bad stories about oversized items that I would, again, if I had another choice, so if I was picking between these two items to go and investigate, I'm going to look at that one first, because I think I can probably customize the designs better myself as a seller, and I think it's probably going to be less hassle to ship and store. So that's between those two, and these are all topicals. I should have gotten rid of that one as well, because it's way too big and way too expensive. Price point, by the way, I would sell up to 150. Anything around the $1,000 mark, as a beginner, you're going to need to buy a lot of inventory to be able to do that first order. So it's going to be a huge amount of capital outlay. But if that's not a problem, then you can go for something like that. Again, this is not a great category for me because I just don't know much about these products at all coming into them. So that one actually looks nicer. I like things that are giftable. Again, that's more like a design thing that stands out rather than this sort of more functional cream. So I like something that I could jazz it up. I could put a ribbon on it. I could probably increase the price significantly by making it giftable. So I might look at that. Monthly sales doing pretty popular. Price point's okay. Yeah, I'll save that. Has good reviews, which means if it's already got good reviews, there's potentially less for you to improve on. But that's okay. I like the fact that it's giftable. Now, I'm not going to go past the first page here because I just wanted to grab some examples. But you could literally do this for this. This is just one category that I've done with the first set of filters, rough filters. You can go through all of these categories. You can go through page after page after page. And all you want to do is just shortlist a bunch of things that you think are interesting to go and look into Amazon. You can spend countless hours doing this. So we're ready for step 2 of the walkthrough, which is the actual product evaluation stage. Now, this is the deep dive into the aspect of the product research process that's really going to set you apart, either as a complete beginner or an expert Amazon seller. And again, I'm trying to take you to the expert level in this video. So each product idea that you shortlisted from before when you were looking through Helium 10, those ideas were fine. Like, we just picked them pretty quickly. Now what we need to go through and do is really evaluate these according to something that I like to call the 7 key ingredients. I'm going to show you those. I think the best way to present this is to show you them as I'm going through it on Amazon rather than just listing them and talking about them. So let's go and dive into this first one, which I shortlisted. So you can pin that and then you can pull these up later in Helium 10. It's really cool. I'm going to click on it, open it up, and just take a look at it, right? The first thing I want to do is just get an idea of what is this particular listing doing. And then I'm going to look at the niche, which is shower caps apparently, and see how it fits into the niche. What does the niche look like? What does the product look like? Because I can either attack a niche in general, but I personally like to go after specific competitors because I know that if one competitor is doing something that I can replicate or I can improve on ideally, then I can take at least a proportion of what they're selling. That's always kind of the worst case scenario for me is, well, if I can't attack the bigger niche, can I at least just like steal some of these guys, some of their sales? I don't like to do that. And ideally you are adding something new into the niche, but again, you're trying to reduce the risk for yourself and trying to eliminate those worst case risks scenarios from occurring. So if you can do that and be like, okay, at the very worst, I'm going to take half of their sales and they're selling $15,000 a month. So I know I can make $7,000 a month. Then you're probably good. So anyway, let's look at this listing. And first of all, I'm just going to take a look and see what pops out. Very quickly, you want to see what the listing quality looks like. I think that image is actually against terms of service. I'm pretty sure as a main image, you can't have models in it, but I'll leave it at that. That is a particular violation of Amazon's terms of service that you'll see almost everywhere. They don't seem to enforce it very well. Other than that, not too much in the way of images. There is a how-to, which is actually very useful to have how-to. If there's any possible ambiguity about how to use your product, it's worth putting in the listing image, in one of the listing images, because you will undoubtedly get some negative reviews if people can't work it out, or if one person can't work that out. Anyway, not very good images. It looks like that's the packaging. It's functional. That's a plastic case. It looks like it's actually a really bad image, which is interesting. As a shower cap at a $24 price point for one shower cap, to me, if I were selling this, I would want to make this more giftable. So I don't know. I'm assuming, like, it's hard to tell from this, but it looks like that's just one of those plastic, like plastic zippy bags. Could be wrong there, but that doesn't look great. Yeah, list images, not great. Let's see, short to the point. The listing is not optimized, that's for sure. I actually like this brand content. I don't know why it hasn't loaded here. I also don't know why it's misspelt like that, but unless that's deliberate. So as you can see, I'm really just considering all of these things right now. I do like this enhanced brand content, even though it's very, very short, but at least it looks good. It has happy, smiling models. With a product like this, that's kind of what you want. You want to be able to portray that people are enjoying the product and in some way, shape, or form, they can associate with the models in the images. So I like that. Bad reviews. They have a brand, Kitsch. And that's actually pretty decent branding, really. It looks like that. It does look quite cohesive. Kitsch apparently is a brand. So, okay, yeah, so that is the packaging. There you go. Plastic. I don't think that's very nice packaging. I think that could be improved upon for $25 shower cap. Okay, so I'm just going to have a look and I'm going to start reading the reviews. The reviews are going to be one of the most critical parts. Other than the listing itself, reviews are always going to be a critical part of actually doing this product evaluation, because you're just going to learn so much about this product. Now, again, it comes down to a lot of the individuality. If you already know all about shower caps, you've already used this shower cap or a similar shower cap, you probably know a lot of the stuff that I need to look at this listing to find out. But the fact is that a lot of the products that you're going to sell, you're not going to know that much about until you dig into these individual listings and just look at them. So here's one thing that I have just noticed, which is complicating things a little bit. So they clearly, shower cap with 3 H's is an actual product, because they had named that there, and it's also Amazon's choice for shower cap for women. So I'm going to have a look at that and see what that is. What I want to stay away from are things like a real brand that is selling things that people know it from somewhere, or it has like a big social media presence, for example, or there's big celebrities endorsing this particular brand. That means that I don't have those resources. I can't take a big chunk of that pie. So I want to go and figure if that is, I want to figure out if that's the case. So I'm going to search this keyword and let that load and continue looking. So other things that I'm seeing, I'm just going to look at the reviews right now. What do the reviews talk about? Good quality shower caps, high quality, highly recommend. Keeps my hair short hair fits. Yeah, long-term cafe. So nothing really stands out there. I want to just read these reviews. And remember, these top reviews. So firstly, you want to read 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star reviews, because those will give you ideas for improvement. But you also want to see what people are finding most useful. So these are the top voted reviews. You can see 80 people found this review helpful. So why is this one so helpful? Unless, by the way, they've done something black hat and they've actually voted up particular reviews, which, because these are all 5-star, they could have voted these up, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. So this shower cap is fantastic. Cheaper. Aha, here we go. So this is better, and from my understanding, better quality than the Instagram famous shower cap. Definitely better value. Right, so that is a red flag. And you know what? I'm going to bring this back now to the notes and just go through these. I will go through these ingredients quickly with you so that you're with me on the same page. So 7 key ingredients. Demand, we talked about. We filtered that out. We're looking for $5,000 to $15,000 a month in revenue. Now, I recommend you either pause this or go and read the guide yourself. I'm not going to go through all of these points. Demand, I'm not worried about right now. Competition is where this is coming in. So I want to deep dive into my specific competition, and I want to see, are they a big brand? Are they doing stuff like manipulating reviews? Are they using external traffic? Now that Instagram thing, I need to dive more into that and figure that out. But if they are, that's a big red flag because I can't do that, or at least, I can't right now. So that's it. The reviews was fine. And improvability I'll talk about now as well, because while I'm looking at the reviews, it's really the best possible source, unless you have personal knowledge of the product. Your best data around improvements is going to come from reading those reviews, seeing what people didn't like, seeing what they did like, and you either want to do more of what they did like and reduce what they didn't like. And that's really the process of improvement. Seasonality trends, what else do I want to talk about? Ingredient number 5, intellectual property and liabilities. This is an important one. However, with products like this, I don't believe that you're going to find any issues with patents, for example, because I think it's quite simple. It could potentially be if they had like a particular mechanism for putting it on the head or a strap attachment or something like that. There could be a patent around that. And so if there is, then you need to look it up yourself. You can go to patents.google.com, or easier, you can actually go to fiverr.com and just type in patent search, have a look, and go for one of the top rated gigs that will do that patent search for you. And that will probably save you a lot of time and trouble potentially down the future. So again, if you're not sure about that step, then make sure you do it. In this case, I don't think there really is anything that indicates patent, but again, I would probably just pay the money and check, or even check myself. So getting back to this now, I want to know more about the external Instagram famous shower cap, whatever that is. Let's try and load this again. Yeah, so these guys clearly have a monopoly shower cap. I'm going to try Google next. These guys have a monopoly on this sort of keyword. Shower cap, like that. Shower cap, reinvented. Right. Now you'll see I'm going off Amazon to investigate products that are on Amazon. And this is something you need to do to work out what's going on with this product, what's going on with this niche, not just on Amazon, not just those numbers that you see on Helium 10, but what is the real product that we're trying to sell? The official shower cap, that's the same. So this is an Instagram famous brand, and I don't actually have an Instagram account, but let me just check these guys. Where Instagram, 44,000 followers. It's not, oh, there's a but. So it's not too crazy. Like, this isn't huge. It's not a huge deal, because this is not the guys on Amazon that I was looking at, and they don't have like a massive following, the sort of original Instagram famous shower cap. So that's okay. I'm going to read some more reviews now, and what I'm looking for, just because I was going off on that sort of social media potential, I want to see if people are buying it. Like, I bought it because this celebrity said I should buy it, or I bought it from this particular source. I heard about it from here. Again, all of those things would be red flags. And looking through these, I don't really see them. I do see a lot of good points, which is that this design appears to be better than most shower caps. It may be ridiculous expensive, but they still gave it a 5-star rating. 2 months, patent is great, durability is great, I love it. So before I go into more of these reviews to give you a better idea of the thought process that I'm following, the reason why I like this product just from the first sort of glance is that this looks different to shower caps as far as I understand what shower caps are. So I'm going to go and look at the niche now, and I want to see, first of all, what the niche looks like from the numbers, but then again, I'm going to spend time looking at the actual products. So by the way, when you're looking at any of these product research tools, they have market metrics at the top here, and I want to caution you from using these too much, at least this star rating. So what this star rating is, 1 star, it says average price because it is a very low cost, low profit niche with a small group of sellers dominating the market. Now, I personally don't mind that because this $11, yes, it's really low, but these guys they're selling theirs at 24, across the board at $24. So is there a reason why? And they're just making a killing with this. There's got to be more to this, and I have to keep investigating. And this may actually go past the scope of this video because it could take me hours of looking at this to really work out what's going on. So what I see here, if I sort by price, yes, they dominate the top end of the market. Now, I'm definitely not going to be looking at any of these $9, $5 shower caps. And in fact, if I just scroll through this quickly, so let's go and look at, again, we're sorting by price. So we're going from the highest price down below. So this is a collections luxury shower caps for women. that's a sponsored, that SP means that it's sponsored, so it's not organic. So I actually shouldn't look at that. I want to look at just the organic ranked products for this keyword, and call this deep conditioning heat cap. So that is a different product completely. So I want to bin both of those. They're selling well. Maybe I could look at them actually. I will. I'll open them in a new tab. But for now, for this purpose of looking at shower caps, I want to remove them. And this is a key thing here, is focus more on digging down into individual listings. And a lot of the time, the keyword doesn't equal the product. And that is an example that I just showed you right there. Is that you might be looking at a certain search term, shower caps, but the statistics that you're seeing on these, the Helium 10 search results, it's not what you're actually really looking at, because that was a completely different product at a completely different price point to what shower cap generally is. And so if you get lost in just looking at the keywords, just looking at this data without actually understanding what product is what, you can really get really mixed signals. So I deleted those two because I'm looking at shower caps, but I'm also going to then split this sort of keyword or niche or product, you might call it, into what I'm going to call sub niches. So I'm actually going to call these $24 range, and this one, no rinse shampoo cap, 6-pack. So that's a higher price, I guess, because there's more, or I don't know why. Dry bar, morning after shower cap, the normal shower cap, organic bamboo hair towel. So that's also, I guess, a different product. Sounds interesting. What are they selling? Bit under 5K. That's a different product. So I'm going to cut this out of this analysis, but I'm also going to open that to look at later. So another note here is that as I'm doing this step 2 evaluation, as I'm really looking at these specific products, and it looks like this one's going to take a while, so I don't know how many more examples I'm going to get in this tutorial. But as I'm doing step 2, I'm also keeping an eye out for anything that I can add back into step 1. So this is a completely new product. I'm going to go and fully evaluate this product a bit later on. But anyway, for now, I just want to get rid of that. And extra large beanie, so that's also get rid of that. Here we go, shower cap, extra large for, I guess, afros. So now we're getting back into this sort of more normal shower cap, 4-pack. So remember, these guys are selling one for $24, and here almost the next highest priced competitor is 4-pack for $12. So these are different products. They're attracting different markets. It's completely different. So if I just look at this, yes, it looks terrible, but really, as far as I can tell, they're the only guys. A red flag would be if I saw this exact same product, this same level of quality that Kitsch is selling, but I also saw that same product being sold down here at $8. So that's really what I'm looking for right now. And I don't want to see that, because these are all bulk or just like they're crappy shower caps, basically. Crappy shower caps versus good shower caps. And there isn't. So the only shower caps on the market that are in this price point are these Kitsch ones. So if I'm looking at this, I'm going to exclude all of this data, because I can see that there is some sort of market for luxury shower caps. I mean, I'm growing my hair, so maybe this is something that I should probably invest in too. Anyway, I want to look further into Kitsch because they're the only ones selling it. So that is it's like a potential red flag, but I potentially don't mind that either. So let's look at Kitsch. Let's go dig further into Kitsch. So who are Kitsch? And now you can click either here or there. So this is the actual seller, and that's the brand. So, I mean, either one will work in this case. I'm just going to click on the brand. So they are I believe this page means that they have brand registry, so they're well established, and they also have a pretty big lineup of different products. So they're pretty well established. And I don't even know now if you can click. No, you can't click this on these brand pages, but I might just go Kitsch and see what pops up. Again, this whole process right now, I'm looking at the competitor key ingredient. I want to know, can I compete with these guys? And if so, how well? So they have a lot of products. And that's really the end of it. If I Google Kitsch, my Kitsch, So they are a real brand, and this is becoming more of a red flag. If I see that, if for example, they're driving lots of traffic from here back onto Amazon, that's a pretty big red flag. Design in the USA. Do they have an Instagram? Let's see how many followers they have on Instagram. 178. There you go. So this is an Instagram brand. Unfortunately, and this isn't something I know much about, so this is, again, I'm looking at this with fresh eyes. They are most likely able to drive a lot of traffic that I'm simply not able to compete with. So let's look at this. Kitsch. Revenue, what are their best selling revenue share? Shower cap, it's just killing it. And by the way, you want to go and check either in Helium 10 itself in the web app or using the Chrome extension. You want to see what the sales have been like, and I'll show you. What I want to be seeing is at least stable sales. So I'm going to go down, let this load, zoom out, and see what the sales rank looks like. Now you can change this if you want to get a better idea of what that scale actually looks like. So just with the basics here, the sales rank is the one in red, and the lower down that line goes, the lower the sales rank goes, the more sales it's getting. And the green line is the price. So I just want to see that this, over time, this product has been selling well. Now again, this is kind of red flagged for me because they have so many Instagram followers. So like if I was going for this, there's no way that I'm expecting to get, I've lost it again, this huge share of 90 sales a day. I might get like 5 sales a day or something like that, maybe 10 sales a day, you know, if I was really lucky. However, if I could think of some nice improvements and some nice designs, I could approach this in a couple of different ways. I would be willing to maybe compete with them. Again, if I could provide some sort of different offering that isn't actually covered by these guys. So that would involve going back. Let's look at this. Let's look at what designs they have, what's missing. Let's look at the product reviews. Let's go and look at the 1-star reviews. Like I said before, is important. Latex free, told by the seller. So that's a really niche. That's like a latex allergy. You could potentially solve. What else? Long hair. Don't waste your money. Sizing. Quality. Short hair, long hair. Cheap knockoff. Not holding up. And by the way, these reviews are indicating they don't sound like they're coming from loyal Instagram followers. So maybe, oh, here's one thing. And this is on the fly at the moment, by the way, guys. So this is a bit all over the place. But one really cool thing about Helium 10 is you can actually go and download these reviews. So I'm going to go back to this listing page. Because what I want to look at now is some specific things. So I'm getting a bit sidetracked. I'd look at all the 1-star reviews, see what I can actually improve, see if I can really attack this in a value-adding way. But while I'm still on this Instagram red flag, I want to look at the review downloader, and I just want to extract, and I think this will extract everything. This is a really cool feature, by the way, and I only noticed it recently. But you can get all of the reviews and just get them and have them here. So now they're all on one page, and if you want to search through them, you can do that. Instagram, you can do analysis based on word frequency. So you can see, in addition to what Amazon shows you, you can see what's actually most popular. And so yeah, I'm trying to investigate this like Instagram red flag. Cheaper. Shower cap. So there's only one mention. So I don't know how much traffic these guys are actually driving from their Instagram or like off Amazon presence. Because if they're not, they're just making an absolute killing because they have this unique product that again is on this niche that's otherwise really bad. Sorry to keep bouncing around, but they're really making a lot of money doing something well. And from my perspective, I like what they're doing. They're selling something that is, if you consider they're selling one piece for $24 and the other guys are selling however many, 10 pieces for $6, that's what you want to be doing. And I have written this as a principle here. Look for ways to charge the highest price in the market. Now, I'm going to jump down here. I'm going to show you what I wrote about this example just a little bit earlier. So I can't go further with this train of thought with this particular one because it's just going to take too long. And this is the point, is that diving into these particular products takes a very long time. Now, my train of thought is red flag is that they have a big brand. So if I'm looking at the revenue on Amazon, I know that I can't take all of that. I know that I can't take a large proportion of that because they're doing stuff that I can't match. What I can do is be, for example, the number 2 seller of luxury shower caps. If I can think of my own improvement, so it could be a new design, I could be looking at making them latex free or something like that. That would be the good, but the better, and this is, I think, a really important lesson that I would love to show you right now. The better takeaway from this is that you can look at what these guys are doing. Where are we? Look at what they're doing with shower caps. So they've taken what is a commodity product and they've made it beautiful and they've made it expensive as well. So this is not something, again, I've never used shower caps in my life. I would not have expected that you would pay $24 for a shower cap, but it's been proven that it can be done, right? So the real takeaway here is that as you're going through these niches, you can be the good, which is to think of how to be the number 2 seller or one of the top sellers of an existing product that's already been done that way, but you take your own little improvement on it. Or better is what other non-shower cap product is currently a pretty generic product, like a $5 for pack of 10 shower caps, clear plastic shower caps. And how can I make that product a luxury product? How can I take Kitsch's successful recipe of design and creativity? And yes, they've got the Instagram thing going on, but the fact is that most of those reviews are just happy with that product because it's clearly this unique shower cap. So I will be looking now in all of my searching going forwards. I'm thinking with that in the back of my head as a 7-figure seller, I'm thinking, what niche do I need to stumble upon that I can apply that same idea to? And this is probably the key takeaway for improvability, pardon me, is that you're not just necessarily looking at one particular niche and being boxed into that and looking at the numbers in Helium 10 and then reading the reviews and then making these incremental little improvements. If you want to go from the $6 product to the $24 product, what you got to think about is how can you take this proven improvement from one niche and then apply it to somewhere else. So I'm going to go through and summarize my thoughts in terms of the 7 key ingredients for this single product that I've evaluated, which is the Kitsch shower caps. So ingredient number 1, demand. There's clearly demand, but the current red flag, or at least the current thing that I'm not really confident on, is how much of that demand can I actually take? There was 2 different markets there between the normal shower caps and these luxury high-priced shower caps. So I'd have to go and do some further investigation to work out whether I can really capture that demand. And similarly with ingredient 2, the competition, the issue is that I'm looking at a marketplace. That sub-niche of the marketplace is those luxury high-priced shower caps. My issue that I have not yet worked out is that specific competitor. How much is it just due to external traffic? How much can I compete with that? Now, it's not going to be 100% for sure. I'm not going to match their sales. I would be trying to work out what sort of percentage of those sales of that competition could I compete with and could I be happy with? And again, considering they were taking nearly $100,000 in that market without any other competitors that I could see, I would probably be inclined to compete, even though they are using a lot of external traffic. That's ingredient 2. Ingredient 3, improvability. So I would be looking at, again, different styles or some sort of functionality. I'd just be digging through those reviews and figuring out ways to incrementally improve the product, as well as that huge step change in improvement over the rest of the shower cap market. That process always takes a while. That will also involve going to Alibaba and looking at what you can actually do and talking to suppliers. Ingredient 4, seasonality and trend. I didn't talk about this at all, actually, and I will just bring this up. Let's go trendsgoogle.com. Shower cap. I'm pretty sure this is not going to be seasonal. However, with that, if I can make it a bit more giftable, pretty flat like I expected. If I could make it more giftable and show off some sort of gift box, I think that product is nice enough that you could sell it well for Christmas. I think you could make it giftable and actually get a lot of positive seasonality. So seasonality would be a good thing in that case. It's such a basic product. It's not a fad. It's not going to die out. And so I'm happy with that ingredient. Ipley. So again, I just go into Fiverr, follow that link if you want to do that, get that done just to check, because it's such a small cost to be sure. Ingredient 6, brand potential. I mean, I showed you what they've done with the entire brand. I've lost it now, but where is it? I lost their brand page, but you saw what they had. They had a whole bunch of women's products, and they're very much going for that, female customer, I guess. I could define it a lot more, but they have branded it very well. I think this is a pretty highly brandable product, really. And I won't say any more about that. So that's definitely not a bad thing. And finally, ingredient is number 7, profitability. I need to make sure that I cover this. So ROI and net margin calculation. Now at this stage, for my business, I have a full-on spreadsheet. I share this with my students as well, which is quite complex, and it allows you to really test a whole bunch of different things at once. You don't need to do this if you're just doing a quick profitable calculation, just to be able to move forward to that sort of final step. Then you can just use Helium 10 has it inbuilt. So we're here in the listing, click on profitability calculator, and these are the Amazon dimensions. So I would, in terms of shipping costs, I would probably make this a bit larger. Let's just go, I don't know, 1.5 inch and see what it changes. 20 cents. And I'm going to change this to Air Express, which didn't change much. So I want to be conservative when I'm doing this first profitability calculation. I'd probably set the price a bit lower, you know, because I'm not this big established brand. Definitely you're going to be storing it for, I usually use 3 months as an estimate. And I mean, the margin works out. Oh, sorry, the unit manufacturing cost, I did miss that. So that's 4.8 right now. Let's go to Alibaba. Let's have a really quick look at what we see. And if we look at the shower caps, obviously these are not the product that we're looking for. So we're not going to use these unit costs. That one is closer. Use that pricing because that's the same product. It looks like, you know, that one is pretty similar. So it's around $2 to $5. Anything else? Any other estimates to go off? Not really. So I'm going to use that. Okay, so let's go back here and just make sure that we are using a conservative, which is actually, it was pretty close by default. Let's put this at 5.5. And I see it knocked off the numbers that I put in. So we're looking roughly ROI, bit over 100%, margin 40%. And that's before PPC. So obviously it will go down because you need to spend money on PPC advertising. So this, from a profitability perspective, looks okay. So those are the 7 ingredients covered for this particular product. Obviously there is still further work to do, and that's to be expected. These things, this is the process that's going to take you days or weeks to actually go through, to start talking to suppliers, to start really nutting down those risks, like I said, and reducing them as much as possible, and deciding whether at the end of it, whether you're really going to go ahead with that product. One last thing to add, this is a little hack, but if you are looking at external traffic, look up the brand name, go to their website on similarweb.com, so you can type that website in, and you can see where, at least, if not their Amazon store, but you can see where their website is getting traffic from. So in this case, it's mainly from search, and the search is coming from their brand name. But what I found interesting when I looked at this just a second ago was YouTube is actually a bigger source than Instagram. So this is, again, not something I can do right now, but then I would be going into YouTube and trying to find where exactly, you know, what influencers or whatever it is, what's driving that traffic onto their website, because it's probably also driving it onto Amazon. And that's it. I'm out of time. I didn't get to go through any of the other shortlisted ones that I wanted to, unfortunately, but you've seen that entire process from step 1 to step 2, and you've seen the 7 key ingredients in action, how I've been evaluating them, and you've seen my thought process. If you want me to repeat this in another future product research video with an example like this one, the organic bamboo hair towel, I want you to leave me a comment down below telling me that you want another one just like this. All right, you made it. Congratulations. You're now ahead of the other 99% of people, literally, when it comes to Amazon FBA product research. So I hope that you did find the video valuable. Let me know, did I deliver on my promise to deliver massive value in this video? If I did and you haven't smashed the thumbs up button, make sure to do that. Make sure to leave me a comment with any feedback you have. If you didn't like the video, leave me a thumbs down and leave me a comment what you felt you missed out on in the video so that I can improve and make new videos for you later on. I make all of these for you guys. This particular video took about 20 hours, so I appreciate any feedback. So what's the next step for you? It's action time. It's time to actually get up and do something. And I'm sure you have a lot of questions. That's completely normal with a process like this. So make sure to leave those questions down below. And maybe you want to accelerate this whole process for yourself. Maybe you want access to a dedicated community to get questions answered by myself or hundreds of other sellers, among them 5, 6, and I'm happy to say other 7-figure sellers as well. Maybe you want mentorship from me on the product research part, so the finer details and strategies covered in this video. Maybe you want to get access to those other methodologies and other ways of finding the additional product ideas. Or maybe you found a great product idea and you want to know what happens next. If you answered yes to any of those things, then definitely go and explore that first link in the description. That will take you to my accelerator program, and from there you can see whether you'd be a good fit or not. Either way, just remember to take action, trust in the process, definitely have realistic expectations, and I will see you in the next video.